Hello everyone, this is Paul Marshall and I'll be your host for today's webinar. What we would like to talk about today is how using ALLDATA Mobile can really hot rod every aspect of your repair process. Starting on the service drive, where every repair actually starts, to helping techs save time diagnosing and repairing vehicles, to helping shops build customer loyalty. But before we start, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. The webinar duration is going to be approximately 15 minutes with a question and answer segment at the end. If you have any questions during the presentation, just type them into the chat box. That is, type them into the chat box, and we'll answer them during the QA segment at the end of the webinar. And lastly, we'll send today's attendees a copy of the presentation for your future reference. But a little bit about me. My name is Paul Marshall. I'm a Senior Product Manager here at ALLDATA. Compiled, I have roughly about 16 years of experience in the automotive aftermarket with an emphasis on diagnostic and repair information technologies. And now I'd like to introduce my co-presenter, Rich Deagle. Rich is the supervisor of ALLDATA's Tech Assist diagnostic team, and he's got years of electrical and drivability diagnostics under his belt. Rich is also a senior editor who has written articles and have been published in many of the leading automotive trade publications. Hey, Rich, I read your article in last month's ALLDATA newsletter about how new mobile technology can help shops become more efficient at every step of the repair process. Seems like a tall order. Can you explain a little bit?
Sure, Paul. Hello, everyone, and hey, thanks for tuning in. As all of you know, each year the auto manufacturers are building more and more convenience features into their vehicles, and they're using more networking and advanced powertrain technologies. So along with all of that, comes a lot more complex problems. And although those problems have become more difficult to diagnose, most shops are still really only charging like an hour diagnostic time. Maybe they're hoping to make up that time in the repair, but if the shops get enough of those jobs in a row, guys, it's going to get harder and harder to catch up. So what I'd like to talk about today is how you can integrate mobile technology into your repair shop or your shop's repair business and really get the most out of every hour those bay doors are open. So let's start where the diagnostic process really begins, and that's on the service drive. So on a typical day, a customer will come in the office to drop their vehicle off, and the service advisor will go out to the car. They'll write down all the important information like the VIN, the mileage, license number on a notepad, piece of paper, or something like that. And they'll come back to the office to transpose that information on the repair order. Now, the customer is describing that problem. Many times the service advisor will enter an abbreviated version of what the customer says in that repair order, because typically, you don't have a lot of room on that repair order. So a lot of times some important diagnostic clues are left out, and that's exactly the kind of information that could really save a technician a lot of diagnostic time. Now, with a mobile device, such as a tablet running the ALLDATA Mobile app, service advisor can use the camera on the tablet to take a snapshot of the VIN, or he could also just plug a wireless adapter into the data link connector and just auto-load the VIN, and then with one touch of the screen, he can seamlessly connect into ALLDATA's diagnostic and repair information that's specific to just that vehicle. And the advisor can also look at that point for current or past diagnostic trouble codes, also look up TSBs and recalls, everything he needs to know for that vehicle. So now along with that customer's description of the symptoms, the advisor can add that additional information on the repair order. So this is really the kind of information that will help the tech jumpstart their diagnostics and also get that diagnosis started in the right direction. So now let's talk a little bit about the mobile device and how it can save you time in the shop. First of all, the majority of shops have maybe one or two computers. One's usually going to be in the office, and a lot of times all the techs have to share that one PC in the shop. So let's face it, a lot of technicians' time can be wasted standing in line waiting to use that one computer. And then what happens if that computer goes down, right? And when it comes to printing, how many times have you guys tried to print a wiring diagram or a test procedure and the printer was broken, it was out of paper, it was down on ink or something like that? So, just having that one PC in the shop can really hinder a tech's ability to get the information he needs to get those vehicles fixed quickly. Now, with a mobile device, on the other hand, instead of having to wait for that one computer in the shop, techs can access ALLDATA's diagnostic and repair information right from ALLDATA Mobile, without even leaving the vehicle. And the thing that's great about this is every tech in the shop can have one. So there's that sharing aspect of it is kind of eliminated. And one of the huge advantages of using ALLDATA Mobile, it allows techs to view ALLDATA's diagnostic information on a clear and scalable screen, so there's no printing necessary. I mean, I would have killed to have a screen that's scalable in those days, be able to zoom in on diagrams, especially wiring diagrams, to make it a lot more clear and easier to read. Now, let's talk about some other features, actually, that ALLDATA Mobile has that will help techs quickly find information they need. Retrieving diagnostic trouble codes is really easy. All you need to do is select Vehicle DTCs, then simply just tap on the DTC icon for each one of the DTCs you want to see information for, and you're seamlessly connected to that OEM diagnostic repair information. You know, notice you can also clear codes from the screen, and you can also look at the vehicle's DTC history. Now, since we're talking about DTCs, as you guys know, freeze frame data is really important. You know, freeze frame data is a wonderful diagnostic tool. It lets you know exactly what was going on at the time the computer set that diagnostic trouble code. So all you need to do is tap on the DTC button from the ALLDATA Mobile app, and that important freeze frame data for each DTC is instantly displayed. You know, this is the kind of information that really helps you get to the core of that problem fast. So how about waveforms? You know, when it comes to diagnosing tough drivability problems, you know, using waveform patterns can really help pinpoint sensor and actuator problems. With ALLDATA Mobile, a tech can view live pin information easily, and it can also graph these waveform patterns, you know, for each individual component. It's a wonderful diagnostic tool. And here's one of my favorites, is the Readiness Monitors. You know, after the repairs are made, guys, tech can clear those DTCs and go out and do a OEM drive cycle while checking these Readiness Monitors. And then when all the monitors have run to completion, they got no DTCs present any longer, it'd be pretty safe to say that vehicle's been fixed. So you know, guys, you know, all the information a tech needs to diagnose, to repair and fix and confirm this repair is accessible right from ALLDATA Mobile's app. So let's talk about service drive, delivering the vehicle back to the customer. Vehicle's repaired, you know, but what happens if that customer asks you what was done to fix their vehicle? You know, how can you easily explain that to them in a way they can understand? Now, you could, you know, maybe show them a part or print the diagnostic repair procedure out, but the problem is sometimes parts, you know, especially electrical parts, they don't look all that bad, you know, and shuffling through a bunch of papers on the service drive can be cumbersome and confusing. You know, what happens if you forget to print something? Now you got to run back to the office and print it out, you know, and if you got a line of people waiting to pick their vehicle up, you know, that's not going to work out too well. Now, instead, wouldn't you rather show them that diagnostic procedure, that repair information, or a TSB electronically? You know, it would be so much easier. And hey, you really want to impress them, walk up to their car with your mobile device, auto-load the VIN using the camera, then with 1 or 2 taps on the ALLDATA Mobile screen, you know, you can easily show them the information that the tech used to fix their vehicle. You know, and if you need to zoom in on an image or a diagram, it's really easy to do, whether it's just a couple of fingers on a touch screen. So service advisors, guys, this is an excellent opportunity to turn that potentially awkward explanation into a great way to really impress and educate your customers. You know, and you're using a high-tech visual aid. You know, believe me, this kind of interaction really goes a long way to build a customer's trust and loyalty. You know, and we can all use a few more loyal repeat customers, right? So at this time, I'd like to turn the presentation back over to Paul, and he's going to give you a quick demonstration of the ALLDATA Mobile features that we discussed already, and he'll show you how easy this application is to use. So guys, while we're shifting into this demo, remember to please type any questions you may have into the chat box, and we'll be sure to answer them during the question and answer segment at the end of the webinar. So Paul, if you're ready to go, we'll switch it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Rich. Before we start, I just want to point out something that on the screen that you're looking at right now. What you're seeing is the main screen of ALLDATA Mobile in Android, iPad, and also Windows, and it looks exactly the same down to the pixel. Basically, what we are now is the only solutions provider in our market that can offer a multi-platform solution from a single code-based environment. Basically, it's the same app served out to whatever platform you may choose. And this means we're giving you, the users, the power to choose your preferred device, be it single diverse. Some people like Android, some people like Windows in the same shop, right? It just all depends on your situation. And regardless of what you choose, you're not going to sacrifice any features or have to be trained multiple times on the app since it's serving up on different platforms. And also, it gives us the ability to expedite updates to you, the users, faster. We don't have to develop features for each application separately. We do it once and we deploy to many times. Now for today's demo, before we jump in, I'm just going to cover two things that we're going to be covering specifically. One, as Rich was talking about, the OBD2 functionality, we're going to walk through it in a demo mode, and we're going to show how we're decoding the VIN and how we're linking the decoded VIN directly to the ALLDATA repair information set. And if that vehicle doesn't support VIN, we have an onboard barcode scanner that you can utilize against the VIN. It'll decode it and serve up the repair information. Also, the ability to, as Rich was talking about, reading DTCs, clearing DTCs, but also how a DTC, once it's read and captured by ALLDATA Mobile, links directly to that specific diagnostic article. And also how DTC activity is stored within a history, but it's your history. It's under your account tied to VIN. So whenever you connect to a vehicle in the future, you could select the history button, look it up, see if you read any DTCs from that vehicle in the past within your base. And also freeze frame and how that is also stored into your history under a date stamp. And also sensors and graphs, and also our parameter table. Now for the repair information, we did a lot for the repair information to maximize and optimize a tablet setting, a touchscreen specifically. We enhanced the search function, so all the returns are now grouped by their associated information type. We redesigned the interface to ALLDATA, brought it into the Sentry. Now it's in a grid format, optimized for the touchscreen. And also within mobile, we're accessing community, which is basically user-generated content created in the field by our users and brought into the ALLDATA information set. So for further ado, we're going to switch over to the demo device, and we're going to walk through these features specifically. Just give us a second. And by the way, anything that you're seeing at the time, feel free to enter questions into the chat box, and we'll get to them as soon as we get to them at the end of the webinar. Okay, so right now what you see is the first screen of ALLDATA Mobile. No vehicle selected. Right now we're going to emulate connecting to a vehicle and decoding a VIN. So to do that, you just hit the OBD2 button, the big button right there in the middle. We're going to go into a demo device, and it's going to query it. And as you can see, we pull back the VIN. We got two returns. We want to confirm the bottom one. And there we go. That is all the repair information for the specific 2002 Chevy truck. As you can see on the repair information block, all the repair information from ALLDATA is served up, so there's no manual selection, there's no guesswork associated with it. But let's check to see if there's any codes. So to check if there's any codes, just select the flyout under Diagnostics, Vehicle DTCs, and we have the DTC screen including drive cycles and active and pending codes. Now, if you notice, some of the codes are a different color than the others. For P0107, it's a lighter shade of blue. That means there's an article attached to it. So all you have to do is select P0107, and it'll go directly into that flow chart. So right off the bat, you can see how fast this time savings is. I mean, we read the VIN, decoded the VIN, selected the vehicle, read DTCs, wanted relevant articles tied to that DTC, and went right into the diagnostic flow chart. And everything, of course, on tablets is explodable, so you can enlarge the diagnostic flow chart. Now let's go back and let's take a look how it's saved to history. For this vehicle, since it is a demo vehicle as part of the application, there's a lot of codes associated with it. But if you want to check and see if you connected to this car in the past utilizing ALLDATA Mobile, just hit Vehicle DTCs. And it's going to query the history database, and it's going to pull up everything that's been read from that vehicle in the past. As you can see, there's a lot of them because we demoed this quite a bit. We have 56 pending, or 42 pending, 56 active. Now let's take a look at freeze frame. Go to freeze frame information, same flyout, select freeze frame. Now there's the freeze frame tied to the primary code that was generated. Now for history, just select the freeze frame history button at the bottom, and as you can see, if I scroll left and right, There is a lot of history, freeze frame history that's been generated from this demo vehicle, and it's also time-stamped. Now let's take a quick look at the sensors and graphs. Now for the PID information, or the specific PIDs that are supported, the list is dynamic, so you just drop down the menu for whatever PID you want to view, and it's going to be responsive. It's no longer a huge list that you have to fish through with hopes that one's supported or one's not supported. We actually query the ECU, and we're generating the list based on the vehicle. But if you want to see all the PIDs in numerical value, all you have to do is just go into the grid format, which is we call vehicle parameters. And this is a huge list of what's supported on the vehicle, just everything in a numerical format. Now for repair information. We're going to take a look at some search functionality and show you how search returns are now grouped by their associated information type. So to search, you just hit the search icon, of course, on the left-hand side, and we're just going to search for a simple component, water pump. And as you can see, there's no submit button. It's a responsive search, so it generates the list as I'm typing. But as you can see, all the search returns are grouped by their associated information type now, be it testing, inspection, service bulletins, parts and labor, all the way up to service and repair. It makes it much easier to navigate to the specific information you're looking for. Now for procedures for that water pump, just like procedures, it's going to go directly into the article. And of course, everything is explodable also within a tablet. Now, what if we want to just navigate there manually? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through to the same component, but utilizing the information grid. What you see right now is to the left, starting with accessories and optional equipment all the way down, is the high-level system of ALLDATA repair information. We list all the systems and subsystems to the left. Then as information types are available, little icons will appear. So basically, you just follow down, like for parts and labor, service repair, TSBs, what have you, diagrams. If there's any information available for that system, subsystem, or down to the component level, it will be displayed by an icon. But let's go take a look at that same water pump. So we go to engine cooling exhaust, cooling system, scroll down to water pump. There's water pump at the bottom. And that little blue icon denotes the service repair articles present. We also have specifications and parts and labor associated with the water pump also. Hit the icon, and you go right into the diagnostic article, or right into the water pump R&R article. Now, there's another really slick feature that we added into this, is access to community. Community is basically user-generated content based on common issues that technicians are finding out in the field. And they also go through a confirmed fix procedure also. But if there's any community articles associated with a vehicle that is selected, within that community icon to the left, it's going to show a little number. So as we can see here, there's 5 community articles that have been generated for the specific 2002 Chevy Suburban. And it's no irony that the fuel pump inoperable is on the top. This tends to be a really common problem with the 2002 Chevy Suburban. But it shows up right at the top. You can select it, and it goes right into that specific article, where it has detailed information addressing that inoperable fuel pump. Or, inoperable fuel pump. So, with that, we're going to hand off the presentation back to Rich. Just give us a second to hand off, and we're going to follow up.
So remember, everybody, too, when you got any questions, go ahead and type those into the chat box, and we'll be answering those questions shortly. You know, Paul, that's really exciting stuff. As all you guys can see, you know, ALLDATA Mobile was designed to save shops and techs a lot of time by delivering that valuable diagnostic and repair information quickly. You know, at the vehicle, on the service drive, with just an easy touch of the screen. You know, service advisors, you guys can wow your customers right on the service drive. Every time you write a repair order or deliver the vehicle back to them, you know, and techs, you can save a lot of time. Not having to wait for that one PC in the shop. You know, just add up how much time you waste every single day walking back and forth from your bay to the computer. I'll bet the time you save on using a mobile device will result in significant gains in your productivity. You know, not to mention the time you spend printing information and taking it back to the vehicle. And, you know, for you shop owners who are listening, you guys, having your techs viewing information electronically can really reduce the amount of money you're going to spend each month on printer maintenance and ink and paper. You know, so when you look at all the advantages that ALLDATA Mobile brings, or a mobile device in the shop, you know, ALLDATA Mobile is really the next big thing that's going to hot rod all the aspects of your repair process. So guys, at this time, there we go. We're going to go ahead and open up the question and answer portion of the webinar. And so please, you know, type any questions you may have in the chat box. And we're going to try to get to all the questions, get to them and get them answered before we sign off. You know, but for the questions that we might not get to during the webinar, guys, we'll make sure we answer those offline. So we'll make sure we answer everybody's questions.
You know, I got one question off the bat, which is
Sure.
one that we get constantly, Rich, is about OBD2. Is that it? Is that all we're doing? Is this all that it does? To answer that question, right now we are at OBD2. For those who know the different SAE standards, we're really conquering J1979. We needed to start with OBD2, really get it down, get our foundation laid, and also make sure that our application is what it is, that what I've showed you, a single app solution for multiple platforms. We are working on actively today enhanced diagnostics, OE level diagnostics, that will be released in the future, at a future date, utilizing this exact same platform that you saw today.
When you say, Paul, most of the cars we're working on these days anyway are OBD2 compliant, anything from like 96 on, right? So I think that's probably the biggest amount of cars we're working on.
Yeah, and it's a great start, right? You know, it's, I mean, more often than not, powertrain issues start off with a P0 code. And also, the goal was to start taking that information that is read from the vehicle and connecting it to ALLDATA information, be it only OBD2 at this time, but the goal was to make those connections so when we move into enhanced realms, that we could continue to connect that enhanced data to ALLDATA. I got another question here, Rich.
Sure.
Can you use a smartphone? Right now, ALLDATA Mobile works on a 7-inch screen and above, and the reason for that is the repair information navigation. When we tried to build out an app that ran on a phone, the repair information kind of fell apart. The navigation became difficult. We are working on a companion app that will run on phones that will interface with ALLDATA Mobile. And an example would be going out, have your phone, you have the companion app installed. You could scan barcodes, read VINs from the OBD2 port. Then it could be transferred right over to ALLDATA Mobile.
Say, Paul, got another question here about the codes. Will it be able to read P codes, C codes, U codes, B codes, that kind of stuff in the future?
Basically, right now where we're at, we read all codes that fall under the OBD2 standard. Now, that is all P0 codes, of course, but there's some other codes. There is some B codes, there's some C codes that fall under that, and if it does fall within that spec, we can read them. But when it comes to the wider spectrum of non-powertrain codes, we'll be able to capture them when we do our enhanced diagnostics update.
That's awesome. Hey, I got another great question here too. What kind of interface is it used to connect to the tablet to the vehicle, from the tablet to the vehicle?
Basically, right now we endorse. It's called the OBD Link MX or the OBD Link LX. They're available on scantool.net. When it comes to Bluetooth connection devices, we've done a lot of research when it comes to the OBD2 level Bluetooth adapters, and it is by far the best, most reliable, has excellent hardware quality with it, and the internals are really nice. It's not a throwaway device. It's something that you would like to keep.
Got another question here from Ken. He's saying, my techs have a laptop in the shop. Will they be able to use the search functions on their laptops as well?
You know, it depends on, that's an excellent question, by the way, because this really ties into our Windows release, which happened last week. The Windows version of the app, which you saw during the demo, I have it running on a small Acer. It runs on anything that's Windows 8.1 and above. So if your laptop is running Windows 8.1 and above, you could utilize this app.
Let's see.
I'm going through some more questions here.
We
got a lot of them.
This is one from Yuri. This is a fantastic demo. Will you be sending out a copy of it for the company to view?
Absolutely.
For the shops?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be sending the demo out. Anybody who wants it.
Here's a good question from Bill Hamilton. He's saying, can this program be installed on a Maxisys tablet?
Basically, if I remember right, it's running Android. If it's running Android 4.1, which is an older OS version of Android, it can be installed, and it has to have access, of course, to the Play Store. Some of them I've seen that run Android 4.0, which is an old OS, and it will not, unfortunately, run. Okay.
And then we have one here from Stephen Morris. Can you demo the functionality available for collision shops?
You know, that's great. Great question. Collision is available through mobile, all the collision information. It's a different, it's the same exact app. All it is just a different subscription. So basically, for collision shops, it's the same exact app that you saw today. The only difference is that enhanced body and frame information, sectioning, metallurgy, all that fun stuff. That's available under the body and frame section. But you can access collision information.
That's awesome.
Well, it looks like we're running against our time stop, but we're going to extend this a little bit longer because we have a plethora of questions going on.
So, in fact, here's one right here. Michael's writing in. He says, you know, why can't you integrate these auto features into the regular ALLDATA repair?
Well, you know, that's another great question. Yeah. What you're seeing, and this is what we envision, is the next generation of repair. I know that it's only running on Windows 8.1 right now, but in a relative short order, Windows 10 is going to be coming out, and 8.1 is going to be where 7 is now. So, in essence, what you're seeing is the future of repair, basically.
Okay. And then here's one for Stephen. He's actually asking this, if you're already a subscriber, will there be an additional cost for using ALLDATA Mobile?
If you're an existing subscriber, there's a nominal cost. Just the best thing to do is contact our sales rep or your sales rep, or call the 877-506-1910 number that's on the screen right now.
Awesome. And then Bob Schroeder writes in, he goes, didn't catch on how to hook up to the vehicle for scanning. How easy is that?
It's easy as pairing a set of Bluetooth speakers. Basically, plug it into the OBD Link MX adapter, plug it into the OBD2 port, yes. And all you do is hit a little broadcast button, just like you do in any other Bluetooth peripheral, and connect to the app, and you're there.
And how much does it cost?
The cost, there's specials running all the time. The best thing to do is contact your sales rep and call that 877 number. It's 877-506-1910.
We had a great question from Lisa, and she's asking, does the info upload into a desktop?
The info load up into the desktop. Well, the app runs, partially the app runs locally on whatever device you're utilizing, but this architecture, and try to keep it simple here, it's reliant heavily on web services or the internet. So basically the data that you're pulling from the vehicle It's saved into a database here at ALLDATA tied to your account. It's not a shared data set or anything of that nature. What it is, we're just saving the information for you under your account tied to VIN for that, for those specific DTCs and freeze frame information being saved.
And another question from Bill Hamilton. He's asking us, how does the free trial work?
All you have to do is contact your rep. It is a free trial. Call that 877 number that's on the screen, and there you go. You could just start using it. We welcome feedback, please, when you use it. If you find something you love or you find something that irritates you, feel free to communicate that up, and the information will definitely get back to me, and we could address it.
Good stuff, Paul. We got another question here from William, and he's asking, can you find the app in Windows App Store?
Yes, you can today. All you have to do is search ALLDATA Mobile, and you can download it today. You do, just to let everyone know, when you download the app from its corresponding app store, be it iTunes or Play or the Windows App Store, the app does install, but when you try to open it, there's something called a PIN screen that opens. Basically, you need that trial PIN or subscription PIN to activate the application. So all you have to do is call that 877 number once you download it, and then we can set you up with a trial PIN, and you can just start using it right afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Good. Here's another question from Bill. Can you run both collision and repair on the same tablet?
Actually, it's kind of interesting. All it is the same application. You just download that same application. Let us know what trial you want, and we set it up on this end. You want the collision trial. It opens up the collision information along with everything else. So they're the same exact apps. It's just one has all the enhanced body and frame information tied to the DNR, standard DNR information, and one just is standard DNR.
Mm-hmm. Here's a great question from Michael. He's asking, is there a free trial for a meaningful time period? And we can all be able to use it long enough to get a good feel for how it works.
Yeah, the standard out-of-the-box trial is 2 weeks, but talk to your rep and see if you get a longer extension, because I know 2 weeks is a little short. Maybe ask for a 3 or 4 week trial, so you can really get the use of it, get the feel of it, and please, again, supply feedback on your experience. We're going through the questions right now. There's some more.
One from Casey. What was the website to purchase the Bluetooth link for the scan codes that OB2?
To purchase the adapters from them directly, just go to scantool.net, and that's a .net, not .com.
Here's Joe is asking us, would you recommend the LAX or the MX, the Max, since there's a big price difference? Which one works the best?
That's an excellent question. The LX, which is green, kind of this fluorescent green, and the MX device is black. The internals, quality is exactly the same. They're the same device, except the black MX device does have the capability of doing enhanced electrical on Ford and GM. So it does have some enhanced capabilities within it for Ford GM specifically. The LX device does not have that. But in this case, with this app, they operate exactly the same.
Got it.
It looks like we're going to wrap it up. We're running out of time here. We love these questions. We're going to try to follow up as many as possible. If there's any additional questions or to contact your rep, please, again, call 877-506-1910.
Sounds great. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, everyone, for attending. We appreciate it.